Good morning, New York Mets Nation, and welcome to the Bat Cave. I'm your host, the BatFrie, of course, Kenny Fry. You know what day it is. If the Bat Cave is on, that means it's Hump Day! Hump Day! There we go. Kicking it off right. We're ending it right. For me, I would if you watched the show before, I always talk about working night shift and all that crap. But for me, it's I'm just about ending my day here. I can't wait to go to bed, and uh, I'm excited to lay down underneath the covers. Get all warm and toasty. There's nothing like that. That's the one good thing about wintertime that you can't do during the summertime. Like summertime, if you throw the AC on, you can kind of get warm and cozy. But in the wintertime, it's you get underneath the blankets and up to your nose in the blankets. It's there's nothing like it. It's a great feeling. As long as you're not like shitting yourself underneath the blankets, and then that's another issue. Uh, anyway, so it's not going to be a particularly long show today. Uh, just a couple little topics. Actually, it's I'll be talking about some of the stuff that I was talking about last week, bullpen stuff. After the Mets made a signing yesterday, 2 days ago, whatever it is, and also some news about Tyler McGill's elite pitch. So we'll go ahead and talk about that, and we'll take a look at the bullpen real quick before I hop off. Like I said, it's not going to be a long show, so usually I go about an hour or longer. So if you're not on now and you're expecting an hour show, like I'll just check him out in a half an hour. He'll still be on. There's a good chance I may not be on. So just throwing that out there. And of course, I read every comment. So we'll start off with the number one fan, Eileen. Hope Day! What's going on, Eileen? Thank you for checking the show out. Thank you for commenting. I appreciate it very much. Number one fan A. There's one fan A, one fan B. Her and Adam Glenn are both number one. So putting that out there in case Adam Glenn's watching so he doesn't attack me next time I see him. Jump on me like a spider monkey trying to choke me out and stuff. I don't need that stuff. I'm getting old. So's he. So, all right. So let's kick this off right. The Mets re-signed, I guess you could say, Adam Ottavino yesterday, 2 days ago, whatever it was. It's kind of it sucks ass for him, but it's good for the Mets. They saved a little bit of money, but he loses a little bit of money. But the way you look at it, I mean, if he would have agreed to the option or picked up his option, however you want to say it or word it, whatever, we all know what I'm talking about. He would have made, I think, $6.5 million this season, upcoming season, if he would have, exercised his option. I guess is the right phrase. Maybe, I don't know. But now he's being signed to a 1-year deal with the Mets for $4.5 million, and so he loses $2 million. But then again, he's still getting paid $4.5 million. So, I mean, I get it. $2 million is a lot of freaking money, but he's going to be all right, I think. I think he's going to be okay. I think his children will be able to eat, this week. It might be some ramen noodles and hot dogs, maybe, and hot dogs not with good rolls. I'm talking hot dogs on stale bread, maybe, but he'll be fine. I think he'll be okay. But he might be the kind of guy that kind of bet on himself, figured, what, didn't have a great season in 2023, but still wasn't an overly terrible thing. The relief pitcher market is always high in need. I don't know if it's even the right phrase either. It's always high in demand. That's what I meant to say. High in demand, and because I've talked about this so many different times. It's like beating a dead camel here on Hump Day. Bullpens are so up and down every year. 1 year you might have the best bullpen in the league. Then the next year you might have, one of the bottom, 10. It's so up and down. 1 year a relief pitcher is a 5 ERA, giving up home runs everywhere, walking people. Then the next season, he has a low 3 ERA, controlling his pitches, not walking many people, keeping the ball in the ballpark. Stuff like that. So it's always up and down for relief pitchers. It's hard to find a good, consistent relief pitcher that year in and year out is fairly close to being the same. Adam Glenn checking in. What's up, Adam? The other number one fan. What's going on, buddy? Thank you for checking the show out. Thank you for commenting. I appreciate it very much. So back to the relief pitching market. So when you look at somebody like Adam Ottavino still being available, and he's been fairly consistent. Looking at his stats, I think I did stats last week too, but anyway. So looking at his stats this past season, he was 1-7 with a 3.21 ERA. You know, good. That's not terrible. I mean, it's pretty decent. But for what he did in 2022, a 2.06 ERA with a WHIP of 0.975, and his walks per nine was 2.2. That was really good. I mean, I think we also had a 100-win team. We also had Seth Lugo there with them. Those guys were almost interchangeable. Seth Lugo and then Adam Ottavino. Their bullpen was very, very good. I thought. We lose Lugo and Jeff Williams and a couple other pieces to that bullpen, injuries and whatnot. But Ottavino had a terrific 2022 campaign, and 2023 good, but not as good as 2022, but still fairly consistent. And so I feel like he's one of those few guys that you can count on year in and year out to be there for you and to give you good innings. Now, last season, they talked about this last night on it wasn't Subway to Shea. It was I guess it was Shea to I don't know. They say it was a show off of Subway to Shea. I can't remember the name of the show. I wish I could. Nelson was on there. Chris from CPNY Sports. Nelson's, of course, our Amish Mets fan, our buddy there. And they're talking about Ottavino last season and his propensity to give up the big home run. Very good. Very solid for the most part. But then when he was in a big spot, seemed to give up the big home run. Give up the big hit. And it bit him time and time again. And also, they also talked about giving up a lot of stolen bases, which is, it seems like we have the Mets. I mean, I feel like that year in and year out, there's always a group of pitchers on the Mets, either the starting rotation or in the bullpen, are just guys that give up a lot of stolen bases. And it sucks if you're a catcher because that really messes with your percentages. Your caught stealing percentages and all that stuff. And it also raises the number of people stealing on you, and that sucks. That really does. Especially Francisco Alvarez had a really good season, and go ahead and look at his caught stealing percentage. You're like, oh, that's not all that great, but actually it wasn't terrible. It's just you have a lot of people stealing on you with some pitchers with some really long, drawn out type wind ups, or it takes them a while to get to the plate with their delivery. Adam Glenn says, "Did you hear about the team Big and Slim for your daughter's cornhole?" No, I did not. My actually, what Adam's talking about is my daughter used to play for a travel softball team called the Not Your Average Janes, and we always did I was a coach and stuff like that, and we always did a cornhole tournament to raise money for the team, for tournaments and stuff. So that's what he's talking about, my daughter's cornhole tournament. It's a tournament. It's bean bags, and so my daughter doesn't play for that team anymore, so I'm not a part of the cornhole tournament. I still may go. I'd still like to go to support the team. I miss the team, and I really enjoyed coaching those girls. So I still might be there, but Big and Slim, you and Sean, that should be a winning combination, no doubt. There, Adam, you and Sean. You guys should have named yourself Menace to Society or something like that. That would have been funny too. But big and Slim, that's Sean's a big fella and you're a little fella. That makes sense. So back to the Mets bullpen and Ottavino. So like I said, it's those guys with those long drawn out releases to the plate and stuff like that. He needs to really, really look at that. And again, that's something they were talking about on the Mets podcast last night. I wish I remember the name of the goddamn show, and it pisses me off that I can't remember it. But that's something he needs to work on. He really needs to work on his delivery and how to speed it up, how to change it up. It doesn't have to be, fast to the plate, fast to the plate, fast to the plate. It has to be mixed up. If the runners are getting a good read on you, they're just going to steal, steal, steal. If you're able to mix it up, if you're able to one pitch, quick pitch, and then another pitch, raise that leg, maybe pause it for a second, and then go without getting yourself a balk or whatever. Dudes doing stuff like that can really keep the runner uh, guessing. So it's it might give the runner pause and stuff. Might create less opportunity for him to steal, and that's what you want. But you also don't want to mess up the delivery so much where he's out there walking more people. I already said his walks, pretty much doubled from 22 to 23, and so many different pitchers stats that I did look at. From 22 to 23, the walks have gone up. It wasn't too many that I seen where the walks actually went down. And whether or not that's the pitching the pitching clock or whatever you want to call it, or it's the pitch calling. They have the automated gimmick stuff. They're in their hat, they're calling their pitches, or they have the catcher calling the pitches. And sometimes the transmitter doesn't freaking work. The pitcher's like, "Oh, I can't hear you." And that can throw a pitcher out of his rhythm real easy. So stuff like that could affect pitchers, and that could have led to more walks. And the umpires are calling it tighter or not as tight. I don't know. But most of the stats that I have looked at recently, whether it's bullpen or starting pitchers, most of those the runs have gone up, or the walks have gone up at least 1 to 1.5 walks per inning for most of them. I mean, there's been a couple, not too many, where the walks have actually gone down, but for the most part, they've gone up and gone up significantly. 1.5. That's an extra 1.5 base runners per inning. I mean, because most relief pitchers are out there for an inning anyway, so that's pretty much it. So yeah. So with the Mets bringing Ottavino in, they had to create a roster spot, so they designated for assignment catcher Tyler Heineman. So, I mean, there's that. I did see somebody comment on the old X, or Twitter, as us old folk like to call it, that Tyler Heineman actually was listed above Tomas Nido on the depth chart. I didn't realize that we still had Tomas Nido on the depth chart. I thought he was, no, I guess he was down in AAA to end the season last year. So, hey, Stacy! She says, "Good morning, Bat Cavers." There we go. Good morning, Stacy. Thank you for checking the show out. Of course, Stacy, the lovely Stacy, you can check her out on the Big Blue Power Hour when that is back up and running in the future there during the football season. Or if they pop in for like the draft and stuff like that, be sure to check her out. Her and Dan the Man, Danny on Wheels, talking New York Giants football. There you go. Hopefully they can turn it around next season for all you Giants fans out there. Usually a lot of Mets fans are Giants fans as well. So hopefully the Giants can turn it around and knock the Eagles and the Cowgirls off their perches. And who knows what the Redskins are going to do. And yes, I'm going to call them the Redskins. I hate the whole Commanders thing. They could have came up with something much better than Commanders. It's a stupid ass name. It's like I don't know, like an Arena League name. I don't know. And I'm not saying Arena League names are stupid. I mean, if it's an Arena League name, it's good for an Arena League. They're not an Arena League. They're NFL. They could have did better than Commanders. I don't know who was voting on that, but I don't know. Call it the freaking Hunter Bidens or something. I don't know. They're all crack. And anyway, we're getting on a tangent here now. She says, "We are praying." There you go. One prayer today. I'm a Raider fan. You can see it right behind me there. I'm a Raider fan. Always. I've been praying for 20 plus years. The Lord has not seen fit to give me any consistency in this organization. So hopefully that has turned now. So I'm excited to have Ottavino back. I like Ottavino. I like to see him in the bullpen. And you look at it, the back half, which I consider the back half of our bullpen, is shaping up fairly nicely. looking at it right now, the way it sits. And so I went to CBS Sports. I was looking at the depth chart on MLB.com. And I'm like, I don't even know how to construct this bullpen. I talked about it last week. And the way I had it constructed last week, before we got Ottavino, I had Diaz, closer Raleigh set up. And I had Phil Bickford, Sean Reed Foley, Michael Tonkin, and Drew Smith as our bullpen for the most part. But according to CBS Sports, this is the bullpen that they think the Mets are going to roll out with, which again I don't think is, I don't think that's all that bad. For the back half, the front half to middle to front half, I don't know what the hell to expect. Like I said, again, it's feast or famine in the bullpen. Sometimes it's famine, sometimes you're feasting. So Diaz, of course, closing. And so the last two seasons, you look at it, comparable, numbers, at least saves wise, 32 saves from 21 to 22. Of course, he was 23 with that injury that he suffered in the World Baseball Classic. But you look at his ERA in 21, 3.45. When he's part of the big trade and stuff like that. And people are not too happy with him because of the ERA so high. He's blowing saves. Still had 32 saves, but still blew a bunch of saves in 21. But then in 22, really buckled it down. Played awesome. 1.31 ERA, 32 saves. That's the Diaz we want to see. I don't know the Diaz that we're going to see coming off an injury like that. I mean, it might be a slow start for Diaz. It might be, I don't know. It might be one of those things where it takes him half a season to start feeling like Diaz of old. So I wouldn't be shocked. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not, because I've never been a relief pitcher in the Major League Baseball, I don't think. But Diaz, he could start off slow, until he gets comfortable with that. It's one thing to be out there pitching bullpen sessions or, pre-10 games. But as soon as he gets out there in spring training and into real games and stuff like that, we'll see how he does. We'll see how much confidence he has in that knee and stuff. That'll be huge. That'll be a telltale sign, because you tear something in any part of your body, but you tear a ligament or a tendon in your knee, it plays on your mind. It really does. I had ACL reconstruction surgery when I was in high school. And, that was before my junior season of football. And I went into my junior season. I rushed back. I was able to make it back for double sessions. And I made it back for the season. But I'll tell you what, every time I was running, I was kind of short stepping that stride, because I was afraid to overextend my leg. I was afraid it was going to buckle, and I was afraid I was going to tear my ACL again. And it took me probably 3/4 of the season before I felt comfortable enough to really stride out and get moving. So it was almost like a wasted season, to be honest with you. So that's what I worry about Diaz. Hopefully he comes out like a ball of fire and he plays just like he did in 2022, but we'll see what happens there. But they had Ottavino as a setup man. I think Ottavino and Brooks Raleigh could alternate as setup men. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they did, but we'll see. We'll see what happens there. It's 2022, absolutely terrific season. Like I said before, for Ottavino, 2.06 ERA, 9.75 WHIP, and a 2.2 walks per nine. And then 23 struggled, but still had decent numbers. 3.21 ERA, 1.216 WHIP, and a 4.2 walks per nine. A little Mike Wazowski here. Brooks Raleigh, he was new to the Mets last season from the Rays. 2022 with the Rays, 2.68 ERA, a .969 WHIP, and 2.5 walks per nine. With the Mets, a very good season with the Mets, I thought. 2.80 ERA, 1.262 WHIP. So that rose, and a 4.1 walks per nine. Again, almost double. Not quite double, but almost two runs more than what he gave up the season before. And a little bit of lock up there. I forgot what I was going to say. Drew Smith. They have him in the middle of the bullpen. I'm not overly excited about that, but you never know. You just never know. In 2022, 3.33 ERA, 1.152 WHIP, 2.9 walks per nine. And then 23, 4.15 ERA, 1.402 whip, and a 4.6 walks per nine. Again, you see those walks raised up. I think I could be wrong. I should have wrote it down, but I didn't. Drew Smith, I think his workload pretty much doubled last season. So you kind of look at that a little bit and see, maybe that's why it was a struggle for him. But I feel like the whole season was a struggle for Drew Smith. So it's not like, he got tired at the end of the season. That's when he struggled. I feel like, beginning, middle, end, he struggled at times. There's times he looked really good too. So, it's easy to be angry at him, but you got to kind of take a step back and say, there were times where he wasn't terrible, but there were times that he was. So it kind of goes back and forth. Then CBS Sports also had Jorge Lopez, another right-handed pitcher, in the bullpen there. 2022, 2.54 ERA, 1.183 whip, and a 3.9 walks per nine. And then 2023, 5.13 ERA, 1.268, but a walks per nine at 2.5. So he was able to fix that, but everything else went up. His whip, not terrible, 1.268. So that's encouraging. DRA is a bit high, but encouraging whip. No walks hits per innings pitched. Michael Tonkin, in 2023, 4.28 with the Braves. We got him from the Braves as a free agent. A 1.619 whip, it's a bit high, and a 5.1 walks per nine. Johan Ramirez, 2022, 3.67 ERA, 1.296, 4.3 walks per nine. And then in 23, 4.23 ERA, 1.461 whip, and a 4.0 walks per nine. So walks per nine pretty close there. And then Phil Bickford, they have rounding out the bullpen. 2023, 4.62 ERA, 1.342 whip, and a 4.6 walks per nine. So that's what CBS Sports has as our bullpen right now. I'm not sold on it. That's where I think, you look at that, all those guys are right-handed pitchers except for Brooks Raleigh. The Mets really need to go out and get another left-hander. I talked about this last week. I said Wandy Peralta is, of course, the guy that you want. He's been consistent. He had a couple great seasons with the Yankees. So that's the guy that you want to go out and get. What's he going to cost you? I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what the going rate for a guy with a barely over 2 ERA in the bullpen is going for. But I would pay it. If you get Wandy Peralta in that bullpen as well, I feel like that's a chance to be a fairly solid bullpen right there. And that could be a huge key to our success and a key to our team being able to stay in games. If that makes any sense, like last season, the bullpen was so overworked. Starting pitching really struggled getting past 5 innings. And you just seen it. It wore on the bullpen. I thought the bullpen played okay beginning of the season, but by the middle of the season, after the June swoon happened, as Frank the Tank, as Mr. Positivity, Frank the Tank calls it, June swoon. From there on, the bullpen was just a struggle. And, they kind of reined it in a little bit near the end of the season, August, September, the end of August and the September and stuff like that. But also our pitching staff seemed to be going a little bit later into games. And they also started doing a thing where they would have, I think Peterson pitched like 3 innings to start a game. And then, somebody else come in for, 3 innings, kind of splitting it up there. A couple long relief guys or starting pitchers, going less to start, because one of the things that really David Peterson struggled with last year, I think it was David Peterson, was, going, third time, through the batting order, second, third time through the batting order. So if you eliminate that, well, then you should get a decent, couple innings out of him at least, where, he's not going out there and getting his face smashed in, as soon as that lineup turns over or they see him, for a third time. So, So that helped the bullpen a little bit too, I think. Having a couple guys that like inning eater type guys, or guys going out there splitting 6 innings. A couple guys that are really good for 3 innings, but after that get kind of shaky. So that might be something we could see this season out of our rotation. Which I don't know if it's going to be a 5-man or 6-man. I think my personal belief is that they'll probably go 6. A couple of our starting pitchers are a little bit up there in age. And it also helped Kodai Senga last season a good bit when he was pitching, once a week or every 6th day or so, instead of your traditional 5-man rotation. So I do believe that they'll go 6 at least to start the season, and then once it gets down to the dog days of summer, maybe trimming it down to 5 to really push and see what your rotation can do, get wins, and get your best pitchers out there as often as possible. But we'll see what happens there. In that 6th man, I don't know. Is it going to be Tyler McGill, Joey Lucchesi, Jose Butto? Sorry, excuse me. Dad, I got a dad sneeze happening here. Oh yeah, a dad sneeze. You know what dad sneezes? They scream, they holler when they sneeze. Got to do it when you're a dad. That's what I don't know. So when we my wife gave birth to our first child. The first time I sneezed after that, I was like screaming, like like that. And she's like, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "Dad sneeze. I don't know." That's one of the things I guess that comes with being a dad. It's automatic. It's like ingrained into your system. It knows once you're a father, that kicks in. Like there's something like genetic that kicks in, or something that's been passed on through ancestral traits. From the cavemen times. I used to imagine cavemen sneezing like that when they're fathers, and that's been passed on evolutionary. Or maybe not really evolution. It didn't really. Well, maybe it did. Maybe it is a little. Maybe that the cavemen sneezed really, really hard. Maybe that's not why they're not around Neanderthals and stuff anymore. That could be, people thinking the Ice Age or whatever killed off the Neanderthals. Maybe it was. Maybe it was just, really hard dad sneezes, and the men aren't around. The women can't, they need the men to produce little cave people. And, I don't need to tell you how cave people are born. I don't need to tell you how that works. I mean, if I do, we'll start a show up and I can draw diagrams. But well, anyway, I'm off topic here. I'm sorry. If you're watching, I apologize talking about caveman sex and all that stuff. Neanderthal, anyway. Neanderthal. I don't know about all the other ones. You have Neanderthals. But anyway, all right, moving on from the bullpen and Ottavino. Hey, I said I'm going to be out of here early. I'm already a half hour into the show, and I'm only, anyway. Tyler McGill. There's a reports that Tyler McGill, our boy Tyler McGill, who's trying to get himself back into the starting rotation. I like Tyler McGill. I was really bummed last season when he struggled, and I think it's played off of the 2022 season. I felt like he came back too soon from injury at the end of this 2022 season because the Mets were really struggling. They were struggling with injuries in their rotation, with DeGrom being out. I think Scherzer was hurt at that time as well. And what the hell is that? Taijuan Walker was struggling at that time. So you had Tyler McGill, who started the season off really good, who ended 21 very good, started off 22 very good. He gets hurt, comes back too soon, gets the snot beat out of him the end of 22. I believe he was left off the postseason roster, but I could be wrong about that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But then he comes into 23 and carries over the snot beating that he got in 22 over to 23. So hopefully he figures it out. Hopefully that wipe the slate clean with Tyler McGill. But reports are that he's working on an elite pitch, an elite split finger pitch. So that's kind of exciting. I know the split finger is a very good pitch to have if you can perfect it. A lot of it's a pretty good strikeout pitch if you perfect it. And I think I could be wrong. I'm not a guru here or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure like the split finger leads a lot of players to bashing that ball into the ground, causes a lot of ground outs and stuff like that. But I could be wrong about that. I don't know. I'm not an expert. That's just what I think. But that was being reported by Mike Puma from the New York Post that Tyler McGill and some pitching coaches have been down in at Push Performance Pitching Center down in Arizona. You're working on his pitching and stuff like that. And these coaches have said that his split finger is on an elite level. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Good for Tyler McGill. I'm happy to see him, still trying, still pushing himself, and just trying to make the roster, the rotation. And if he doesn't make the rotation, I still think he's going to get spot starts. And like I mentioned before, with our pitching staff, in my eyes, being a little bit on the older side, and injuries always happening. It's not like we went out there and picked up a whole bunch of Cy Young, past Cy Young winners either. These are guys that are almost kind of like hoping that they pitch well, hoping they return to form from past seasons. That's kind of something Mom always say, hope in one hand and crap in the other, and see what fills up first. We'll see what happens. My mom never said that to me. I don't know why I said that. That's kind of funny. I just said that. Now it makes me think. So real quick before I move on, today, January 31st, is my youngest daughter, Callie, her 11th birthday. So I want to say happy birthday to Callie. Let me take a sip of Mike Wazowski's head. Happy birthday to my youngest daughter, Callie. And it's also my mom's birthday as well. She would have been what year is it? She would have been 61 this year. She passed away. I guess it's 2 or 3 years now. I think. What was it? Yeah, it's 2 or 3 years now. I don't know. But yeah, me saying that about my mom made me think about my mom's birthday today. And anyway, I don't want to get all weird and stuff like that. So yeah, good for Tyler McGill. Another note here. Justin Turner is now off the board. He signed. I think he signed with Toronto. I could be wrong. So it's do the Mets look at JD Martinez now? They take a serious look at JD Martinez or Jorge Soler? My thoughts are more towards Jorge Soler, a little bit younger, and can actually play the field. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's neither. I wouldn't be surprised if it's nobody. And like I've said, I'm like, again, once again, beating a dead camel here. It's I think it's going to be DH by committee. I think you're going to have potentially Vientos there to start, but I think you're going to see Marte there a lot. I think you'll see Nimmo there a little bit. You'll see Pete there, Alonso there a little bit. Francisco Alvarez, I think you'll see him there as well. So I don't think the feeling that I get now so far along, I don't see them signing anybody like that. I don't see them signing a JD Martinez or a Jorge Soler. I just don't see it. Now, could they sign somebody that I'm not thinking of that's maybe not as big, as big name and stuff like that as a JD Martinez or a Jorge Soler? I'm not saying that. They could still go out there and get somebody, but not with 30 home runs last season. So, but I don't think they'll go out and sign those guys. And also David Robertson's now off to Texas. So that's something I talked about last week about potential of the Mets reunion with David Robertson. I also brought up Aaron Loop. Is there a chance they can rekindle the old flame with Aaron Loop there from 2021 when he had a sub-1 ERA? It's funny because I said this I think last week. I got to see Aaron Loop pitch in 2021. It was the Mets at Phillies opening day, and I wore my Mets stuff, and the Philly fans heckled me, but I laughed about it. It's all fun. But Aaron Loop ended up blowing the game, and I'm like this guy's a freaking clown. Get rid of his ass. And here he had a really good season that year. It was just one game. DeGrom went out there, pitched awesome, shut the Phillies down. They brought Loop in, I think, in the 7th, and it went to hell. So there's still that possibility. Like I said, needing the left-hander. Loop is a left-hander. Wandy Peralta. I'd rather Wandy Peralta. So hopefully they're out there kicking the tires on him. Another ex-Yankee. like Luis Severino. He'll be, I guess, like the Yankees' weird uncle that stops by, just to eat mom's cooking or whatever. Um, so yeah, Robertson's off to Texas. Uh, yeah, I mean that's all I have really. Just looking at it now, notes wise, that's all I have written down. I don't have a top 10 list written down for today. I was a little bit busy, so I didn't get a chance to get to it. But I will have a top 10 next week. Hopefully, I have more to talk about next week. Um, yeah. So yeah, that's all I have for today. Kind of just ended abruptly there. I got kind of looking at my notes. I'm like, shit, that's all I have. Nothing else to talk about though. That's so in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to start breaking down positions though, position groups. Kind of like what I did last season. Now, last season, if you remember, I went throughout the NL East. I broke down who I thought were the top. I ranked the position players from each team, and I'll probably do that again this year. We'll see what happens, or I'll just do the Mets positions. And because my rankings from last year were shitty, because I don't know what I'm talking about. It's kind of out here making it up as I go, I guess. But yeah, so next week we'll have some different stuff. Hopefully there's another signing or two or news to talk about. Besides David Robertson going to Texas. Hopefully next week I can talk about how Wandy Peralta's a Met now and their bullpen is solidified and it's going to be firing on all cylinders and all that good stuff. And the Mets are on their way to the playoffs. And, I don't care how they get there. If they get there by winning, 82 games and squeak in by the skin of their teeth, through a wild card, it doesn't matter how you get there. It's matter what you do when you're there. Everybody starts off at zero, level playing field. So that's how I view the playoffs. It's not about how you got there. It's the fact that you're there. It's what are you going to do there? Are you able to inflict damage? So, 2022 we did not. It is what it is. All right, so that's all I have for today. Thank you everybody for checking the show out. Oh, you know what? I got to do my sponsor reads every week. I do this. We got Big Al, Jason Fine. You can reach Big Al at 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Attorney Jason Fine specializes in motor vehicle accidents, slip and falls, workman's comp, and personal injury claims. He has 3 office locations conveniently located throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. In Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the offices are located at 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120. The phone number there is 267-888-2980. In the Garden State of New Jersey, Cherry Hill, New Jersey, the offices are located at 3 Greensward Lane. The phone number there is 856-209-5258. And in the Steel City of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the offices are located at 500 Grant Street, Suite 2900. The phone number there is 412-365-8151, or you just go ahead and call 1-800-HURT-123. That's Jason Fine, Big Al. And once you get all your legalese taken care of, head on over to monkeycoldcoffee.com and celebrate by buying some sweet-ass coffee. They got the bourbon chocolate chip-infused coffee, toasted coconut rum, Sumatran blend, or they're one of their newer blends, the organic blend, Perula, Florida. Also, not shown on here, they have a golden honey agave coffee. I don't know what the hell agave is, but I know that coffee is very good. I do have that coffee. It's also good with a little bit of honey jack in there, some Jack Daniel's honey, a little bit in that. It's a really gives it a little bit of kick. It's good stuff. Honey jack by itself is good. Golden honey agave coffee by Monkey Cold Coffee. That's good by itself. Put them together, and it's a beautiful thing. So yeah, at monkeycoldcoffee.com. Head on over to their swag shop. Also, they got coffee mugs, tumbler cups, T-shirts, cold brew pitcher set, K-cup adapter, And don't forget your Paradise Rum Cake. And at checkout, use that promo code OOTB Sports for 10% off. The promo code, once again, is OOTB Sports for 10% off at monkeycoltcoffee.com. And I'll tell you what, I'm not blowing smoke up your skirts when I say I like monkeycoltcoffee.com. I love monkeycoltcoffee.com. I love the little mascot they have on all their stuff, Roderick. I think he kicks ass. Their coffee's awesome. That Paradise Rum Cake is fantastic. And I'm not blowing smoke. I'm telling you that it's true. It's a fact. If you don't believe me, try it out. Try it out. And, if I'm wrong, come on here and comment. Say, hey, fat ass, you're wrong. And I'll say it on it. I read every comment. I'll say, hey, fat ass, you're wrong. And I'm like, okay, I was wrong. I'm sorry. But you have to like coffee. Don't just go by if you don't like coffee. Oh, he's wrong because I don't like coffee. You have to like coffee. Don't be one of those people. I think it says your sayings are hitting the mark today. They are hitting the mark today. They really are. There's a couple of one-liners. I'm like, that was pretty good. I'm thinking in my head, then I lose my train of thought when I was talking about then because I was stuck on like, oh, that's a pretty good one-liner, Ken. Oh, thanks, Ken. Oh shit, what was I talking about? Oh, I don't know. So yeah, that's all I have for today. I will be live this Friday, 10 a.m. with the Silver and Black Lair, talking Raiders football and the God blessed Kings, Kings hockey, not the Sacramento Kings basketball team, not that crap. LA Kings hockey, still struggling. I can't wait for the freaking All-Star break to kind of hit the reset button on the season. They started off the best team in the league, and then January hit, and so. And that was a wet. That's what that was. It was nasty. Mike Wazowski. Real quick before I head out, I'm going to ask for your feedback. If you could send me a message through Facebook Messenger, or even on X or Twitter, whatever the hell you want to call it, at my on my X account. It's the Bat Cave OOTBS. But I'm thinking about starting a show where I do reviews on stuff. Like for instance, I'm a huge Green Day fan. I love Green Day. They're the first rock band I ever listened to. I'm not going to count Weird Al. Weird Al was the first musician I really liked. Which say what you want about Weird Al, millions and millions of fans can't be wrong. But Green Day was the first real true band that I started listening to and I liked. They just released a new album. I'd like to do a review on it, but I don't know if anybody would actually watch it. And it'd be kind of just me talking about what I like and what I don't like about the album. And I figure I could do that monthly or every couple of weeks or whatever, whenever something piques my interest that's new, that comes out, maybe a movie or a new Batman comic book, which I have a ton of those I could talk about. And just do a quick 15-minute, 30-minute show about that. So let me know your feedback if you guys would be interested in something like that or not. If not, I won't do it. I won't waste my time. But if you are, there would be a viewership for it. Maybe I'll go out there and do it and see what happens. You'll get away from the sports a little bit and talk about some other crap. All right, so that's all I have for today. Once again, I say it. That's like the fifth time I said that, I think. But this time I mean it. I really do. I'm getting the hell out of here. I think I'm going to have a bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios before I go to bed. We'll see what happens. Thank you for checking the show out. Please like, follow, subscribe. Facebook, please go to that YouTube and subscribe to the Out of the Box Sports Entertainment. And also, I have a YouTube page. It wouldn't hurt to subscribe to that, but I'm not worried about that. Subscribe to the Out of the Box Sports YouTube. X, please follow my page on X. Follow Out of the Box Sports. It's much appreciated. I follow pretty much everybody back, unless I suspect you to be one of those accounts where the ladies send me like a message back, like, oh, I think, oh, that's a Mets fan. They're following me now. And they're like, oh, hey, Ken, would you like to learn about insurance? No, I would not want to learn about insurance. I love you long time. No, you won't love me long time. I'm a married man. So A lot of weird stuff out there. Like I don't understand how that works. You know, I don't know. I don't know how it works. It's just I get it. I get it. You know, so and so's following you. Well, okay, I follow back, and I start getting all these weird ass messages. Like, all right, I gotta unfollow that now. Or I gotta block the messages. It's like it doesn't make sense to me. I usually don't unfollow because I like seeing all the followers. I'm trying to build a followership. It's like, well, that's a number then. But usually I just block them then, or block the messages because it's all nonsense. Trying to steal my hard-earned money out of my bank account. Probably some prince in like a small African nation, stuff like that. All right. Anyway, that's a weird rant for the end of the show. I'll see you guys later. Next Wednesday, same bat time, same bat channel. Let's go Mets.